For almost 100 years, LEGO has been entertaining kids of all ages with its interlocking bricks. And though their sets started simple with settings like towns and space, it was only the beginning. Let's take a look at LEGO's history by walking through every theme that they've released from 1932 until today. This video is the first in a series covering up through the end of the 1990s, so if you want to make sure to see the next videos talking about the 2000s, the 2010s, and the 2020s, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to let me know in the comments below what your favorite LEGO theme and set are from this time. Now, the first toys that LEGO was putting out were not their bricks, but they were actually these wooden toys running from 1932 until 1960. Once we get to 1949 and rolling to 1953, we do get what are called the automatic binding bricks, which are very similar to the bricks we know today. Though if you take a look at that picture, you can see that the mechanisms that are helping them stay together aren't quite as advanced. Then starting in 1952 and going to 1955, we get the word LEGO for the first time, with the introduction of Lego Merston, which translated means Lego brick. Then in 1955, debuting at the Nuremberg Toy Fair, we had the System I-Leg, which in English was known as System of Play. And these would be going out through 1970. Once we hit 1957, we get to the basic Lego. Which is then followed in 1957 with Modulex, which were made of smaller bricks, which led to more detailed designs. This would then take a break until 1960 and then continue to run until 2005. Then in 1965, we get to the theme LEGO Trains.
Careful with the crossing, it closes. Ding, 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 ding.
Now this is going to have a lot of sub-themes inside of it, and we'll hit each one of those as they come up in our timeline. But the Trains theme would start again in 1965 and is still going today. The 4.5 volt sub-theme would be introduced, and it would be followed the next year in 1967, running up until the present, with the Train Accessories sub-theme. The Trains are going to add another sub-theme here with the 12 volt series, running from 1969 to 1987, and then that will bring us up into the 1970s with Lego Minitalia, which was an Italian version of Lego that was produced there to be able to get around different taxes. The boats theme would run from 1973 until 1996, and it would include sets like the police boat, the tugboat, the fireboat, and the speedboat. Moving next to the homemaker theme, which would run from 1974 to 1977, we would have the first time really that Lego would be kind of reaching out to try to grab that girl market. There are a lot of different sets in here, including this bungalow, and then a set specifically for a bathroom. As you can see, they were not getting those minifigures that we're used to seeing today back then quite yet. But they were just around the corner, starting in 1978, with the theme Town. The classic original version of the Town Lego theme would run from 1978 until 1989. This is where Lego is going to become really what we know of it today. There were tons of different sets, including this shell service station, the house with a garden, the police headquarters, the mini loader, the forklift and truck, and the Air Canada jet plane.
We've just heard that a 300-foot monster is heading for Legoland Town. Over to our correspondent.
It was actually that same year that the space theme would be introduced to Lego as well. The classic space theme would run from 1978 to 1988. Again, there are tons of different sets in here, but the ones we have pictured here are the Robot Command Center, the Transporter, the Seismologic Vehicle, Space Scooter with Robot, and the Surface Rover.
Number 928, one of the new LEGO Space series. Each set sold separately. LEGO, a new toy every day.
And the final of the three big original themes that came out in 1978 was the Castle theme. This theme would run from 1978 until 2000 and would include sets like the Castle, the King's Mountain Fortress, the Knight's Stronghold, Black Monarch's Ghost, and Knight's Challenge.
You can build a castle, then open up the wall, and pretend the knight jumps on his horse when he hears the bugle call.
One theme I was not aware of before putting together this video was the Fabuland theme. I really like the figures that are in here. And here's some of the sets you could get in the Fabuland were the Hospital, Percy Pig's Wheelbarrow, and Bernard Bear and the Pickup Truck.
New Fabuland is our Jill's favorite. Comes with ready-built rooms. She puts them together, then plays inside. How old are you, honey?
3.
Castle's going to introduce the sub-theme Black Falcons in 1984, and that's going to run to 1993. This theme is going to include sets like Knight's Castle, Catapult, and the castle minifigures.
Right, Black Knight, I'm ready for you.
Legoland Castle, medieval adventures to build and collect.
Town Airport's going to be a new sub-theme that's going to come in and run from 1985 until 2004. In here, you could get sets like the jet airliner, the ultralight, a helicopter, and even a space shuttle.
We have just landed at the new Legoland Airport. On behalf of the captain and his crew, we wish you a pleasant stay.
Another sub-theme for town that would come out that year would be the racing theme. This would go from 1985 to 1999, and it would include sets like the Turbo Force, the race car, the go-kart, and the Victory Cup Racers. In 1986, a new theme to be introduced would be Model Team. This theme included bigger, more detailed sets like the Highway Rig, the Custom Rally Van, Blue Fury, and Red Fury. In 1987, Town Flight would be introduced as a new sub-theme, though it would only include this one set, the Turboprop 1. 1987 would also see the introduction of Service and Repair to town, with this theme running from 1987 to 1989, and it would include sets like Big Rig Truck Stop and Utility Repair Lift. That same year, we also would get the High Speed Adventure, which would have Stunt Chopper and Truck, and the Four-Wheelin' Truck. Lego Town would have Emergency added into this theme as well in 1987, running until 1988, with big sets like the Emergency Treatment Center and smaller sets like the MedStar Rescue Plane. 1987 would also see us go back to the castle theme, this time adding in the Forestmen. This subset would run from 1987 until 1990 and would include playsets like the Camouflaged Outpost and the Smuggler's Hayride. Castle would introduce another faction, the Crusaders, that same year, in 1987 running to 1993, with that side having sets like the Battering Ram, the Knight's Arsenal, and the Siege Cart. And the final faction to be introduced that year into Castle would be the Black Knights, that subset running from 1987 to 1994, and in there you could get things like the Black Knight's Boat, the Sea Serpent, and Black Monarch's Castle. 1987 would also see new introductions into the space theme, this time with Blacktron. This series, though, would introduce the Renegade, the Invader, and the Message Interception Base.
Only you can navigate the galaxy's greatest perils with the all-new Blacktron Cruiser.
We'd get another faction in space with Futuron, running from 1987 to 1990. On this side, we could get sets like the Aero Module and the Monorail Transport System. 1989 would see Houses added to town, but this would only have one set included in it, that being the Holiday Home with Campervan. 1989 also saw Space adding the Space Police, which would run from 1989 to 1990. Space Police would come with a number of different sets, including the Message Decoder and a Mission Commander.
Lego Space Police report to base. Space Spider carrying out threatening maneuver over Squadron 2. Thinks we're no contest.
Joining Town, Space, and Castle, Pirates get added in as a big theme that we're going to see reoccurring over the years, with the Classic series starting in 1989 and running to 1997. In here you'd get the first pirate ship that Lego would introduce, called the Black Seas Barracuda, as well as playsets like the Forbidden Island. But Lego would also make sure and put out some bad guys for those Lego pirates to fight, and they would call that sub-theme the Imperial Soldiers. That sub-theme would last from 1989 to 1991, and would include sets like El Dorado Fortress and the Caribbean Clipper. Moving into the 1990s, Space gets a new sub-theme with Imtron. This would run until 1993 and would include sets like the Particle Ionizer and the Mobile Satellite Uplink. Trains are back this time with a 9-volt version running from 1991 until 2007. Pictured here are some of the pieces you could get, including the manual points with track, the battery motor 9-volt, and the crocodile locomotive.
This is the Lego train starting to roll, but minus the driver, it's out of control. First it's a shunter, then it's a freighter, changing again a few moments later.
Town Flight is back, this time running from 1991 until 1996. The sets that I've shown here are the Shuttle Launching Crew and the Century Skyway. Also in 1991, Town introduced Rescue as a sub-theme. Here you can see the Central Precinct HQ and the Snow Scooter. Town Fire is next up, running from 1991 until 1993. Pictured here is the evacuation team and the Jetport Fire Squad. The town is also going to be adding a police force in 1991, running to 1993, with you able to get sets like the Police 4x4, the Night Patroller, and the Pier Police. Town Vehicles had a set come out in 1991 as well, this one titled the Mud Runner. And then in 1991, you could also see Town Rescue 911, running from 1991 to 1992, with sets like the Trauma Team and the Fire Control Center.
Crazy Charlie was crazy to think he'd escape a Lego maniac. The Lego System Town Rescue Collection, each set sold separately, Maniac not included.
The final new town sub-theme that we'd add in 1991 would be Nautica, which would include some boats like the Coastal Cutter and the Launch and Load Seaport.
Nautica Lego Maniac! Pier Police patrol the bay, Coast Guard rescue save the day!
Space would also get a new sub-theme this year, this time with Blacktron Future Generation, running from 1991 to 1993. This theme would have sets like the Double Scout and the Allied Avenger.
Space out! Max back! Blacktron Lego Maniac! Finds his way through cosmic night, guided by his landing way!
As we move into 1992, Town would introduce Paradisa. It ran from 1992 until 1997. This is another time where they're trying to move into that more feminine market with sets such as the Sunset Stables and the Cabana Beach.
Paradisa, Paradisa, sun is shining all day. Let us ride down to the beach, go surfing, bathing, and play.
Space would be back in 1992 with the Space Police 2, running from 92 to 93. Here I've got pictured the Galactic Mediator and the Solar Snooper. The castle theme would add a new faction in 1992 and running into 93 with the Wolf Pack. This would include sets like Wolf Pack Renegades and Ghostly Hideout.
Oh, look! Wolf people! Let's pinch the treasure while they're fighting. Only a ghost. Yeah, got it!
Pirates also are going to be introducing a new faction with the Imperial Guards, running from 1992 to 1995. Here you can get sets like the Bounty Boat and the Imperial Flagship.
It was a time of terror on the high seas. As pirate raiders ruled the waves, there was only one hope, the Lego Maniac.
Yo! Ho-ho!
The theme Freestyle would be introduced in 1992 with the trial size box. In a couple years, we'll see some more specific sets, and we'll cover those at that point.
Lego system. Because it's not just how a child builds a toy. It's how a toy can build a child.
Moving into the new year, 1993, Town Vehicles would expand with things like the Wave Rebel and the Rescue Rig. 1993 would also see Town Leisure introduced with the new ultralight set, as well as sets like the Surf Shack. And then the final new sub-theme for Town in 93 would be Octane, with racing-themed sets like the Octane F1 race car and the Victory Cup Racers. The new space sub-theme Ice Planet 2002 would run from 1993 to 1994. One of my favorite set names, the Ice Tunnelator, would be included in this theme, as well as the Deep Freeze Defender.
Keep cool when you discover the new Ice Planet from Lego System.
Finishing off 1993, Castle would add a new faction with the Dragon Masters. This would run from 1993 to 1995. It would include things like the Wizard's Cart and the Fire-Breathing Fortress. In 1994, the Pirates theme would continue to expand with Pirates Islanders, running from 1994 to 1996. In here you could get King Kahuka's Throne, as well as the Islander Catamaran.
Look, treasure! What's that? they haven't got it yet.
1994 would also have us head back to space with Space Unitron, running from 94 to 95. In here you could get the monorail transport base as well as the Starhawk 2. Another faction in space that was introduced in 1994 would be Spirius, which had sets like the Saucer Centurion and the Robo Guardian.
Space Control had no clue Spirius was on the loose, but so was a maniac. Lego Maniac!
Freestyle would be back in 1994, this time running until 1999. This would include sets that were aimed at a little younger age group, including the Freestyle Cat, the Aeroplane, and the Freestyle Duck.
Easy to handle pieces called Freestyle.
Apple tree elephant.
1994 also sees LEGO taking another crack at that little girl market with Belleville, running from 1994 to 2008. The people in these sets are actually different than those normal minifigures, which I do find interesting. In here you get sets like Girl with Two Cats, Witch's Cottage, and The Enchanted Palace.
See, Mom and Dad. They're sweethearts.
The new Belleville is for you with love from Lego System.
In the year 1995, Town would have Launch Command added in, and this would be expanding on the whole mission control part of the town. In here you could get sets such as the Shuttle Launch Pad and the Launch Evac 1.
5. Retract booster arm. She's in the clear. And ignite engines. We have liftoff. Lego System Launch Command. It's out there.
1995 would also see the Royal Knights added to the castle theme. This would run from 1995 until 1998, and it would include sets like the King's Carriage and the Royal Knights Castle.
There were tall towers, a drawbridge, hidden compartments, secret stairways, clanking gates, ghoulish ghosts, swords, shields, spears, catapults, trapdoors, bone-chilling skeletons!
LEGO would add in a new overarching theme with Aquazone in 1995, which would run until 1999. This has a number of sub-themes that we'll get into, but it would include sets like this one here, the Crystal Explorer sub. 1995 specifically would add in the Aquanauts, running from 95 to 96, and the Aquanauts would include the Underwater Scooter, as well as the Sea Spirit 9. Of course, they have to have somebody to go up against, so you have the Aqua Sharks also added in. That would run from 95 to 96 as well, and it would include the Aquaccessories and things like the Shark Scout.
You command the Aquanauts. Your mission to seek out the precious underwater crystals. Your enemy, the evil Aqua Sharks.
In 1996, the town would expand with the inclusion of the Community Workers set, which has a lot of minifigures in it, including some from the fire department. But in 1996, the town police would see additional sets added in too, including the Speed Tracker and the Metro PD station. In 1996, we would see a new space sub-theme with the Explorians running from 96 to 97. This faction would include sets like the Droid Scout and the Planetary Decoder. 1996 is also going to see the introduction of the Dark Forest to the castle, with sets like Hemlock Stronghold and Dark Forest Fortress. Imperial Armada would get added into Pirates that same year, running from 96 to 97, and that would include sets like the Armada Flagship and the Armada Sentry.
This year, LEGO's got even more of the hottest new sets than ever before. And you thought you'd seen it all.
We get another big traditional theme added to LEGO in 96 with the Western theme, which would run from 96 to 97. The first one of the sub-themes in there would be the Cowboys, which would run again from 96 to 97. In here you could get sets like Sheriff's Showdown. There was also the Western Cavalry sub-theme, which ran from 1996 until 1997, which had sets like the Frontier Patrol. And I think it's pronounced Fort Legoredo or Fort Legorito.
Because Blackfoot Thompson and his gang were in the bank stealing the money. The crooks fled to their hideaway and thought they'd be all right. But the sheriff came with 10 strong men who put up one good fight.
1996 would see a new theme called the Time Cruisers added in as well. It would run for 2 years, from 1996 to 1997. Some of the sets in there you could get would be the Hypno Cruisers, as well as the Flying Time Vessel.
Very welcome to my lab. I'm almost finished with my latest time cruiser. Come a bit closer. We've got magic weapons and helmets for any adventure. What do you say?
And as we move into the next year in 97, running to 98, Town Divers would start up. And in here you could get the Diver and Shark and the Stingray Explorer. 97 would see Town Outback come in as a sub-theme with just a few different sets, including the Outback Airstrip and the Outback Racer. Town Junior is an unofficial name given to some of the more simple designed Town Lego sets that started to come out in 97 running to 98. Some of the sets that get lumped into this would be the Blaze Brigade and the Bank. We get a couple new space factions added in 1997, including the Robo Force, which would have cool sets like the Robo Raptor and the Robo Stalker. But then also starting in 1997 and running to 1999 was Space UFO. In here there were things like the V-Wing Fighter, as well as the Interstellar Starfighter.
We've seen them. UFO invaders.
They got saucers, blinding lights.
And you know, I think they're coming closer.
Castle's adding in some pretty cool stuff too with the Fright Knights running from 97 to 98. Fright Knights would include things like the Bat Lord and the Witch's Wind Ship.
Inside was a Bat Lord and his knights, a witch, and the smell of rotting bones. It was time to go, and the boy tried to escape, but the witch insisted he stay.
Under the Sea, we'd get some new stuff added in too, with AquaZone adding in the Aqua Raiders. Those would go from 97 to 98. These two sets are called the Crystal Scavenger and the Aqua Dozer.
While diving for the treasure, the Aqua Raiders are attacked.
Shark attack. All hands to battle stations.
The Western theme would add in one more sub-theme in 1997, which they called Indians. The two sets I decided to show off here were the Boulder Cliff Canyon and the Indian Kayak. 1997 also saw an expansion to the Time Cruisers theme with the Time Twisters, who were the villains of that theme. In here there was the Time Tunnellator and the Twisted Time Train. Town would expand with Extreme Team, with sets like the Speed Splash and Daredevil Flight Squad, and that would run from 1998 to 2000. Also starting in 1998 and running to 1999 was an updated version of Rescue. Here there were the Rescue Lifeguards, and then the River Response sets. Town City Center would also be introduced running from 1998 to 2001, where you could get sets like the Speedway Transport and the Roadside Repair. As we keep going in 1998, running for that year alone, there was Space Police 2, where you could get the Space Police Car. But then Space also expanded with Ice Planet 2002, having another set, this one called the Space Diver. Space Spirius, very similarly, is going to have just one little set come out called the Space Jet, but a new bigger space sub-theme would also be introduced running from 1998 to 1999 with the Insectoids. If you're buying the Insectoids, you might find yourself getting the Planetary Prowler or the Hornet Scout. A theme that started off as a cancel sub-theme, but then eventually grew into its own thing, were the Ninjas. They would start off in 1998 and go to 2000. Pictured here, though, I have the Ninjutsu Big Bad Glider, the Ninja Shogun Small Fort, and the Chief and Cannon.
Meet Robbie Ellis, mild-mannered student by day,
Ninja Legomaniac by night, building ancient castles, dodging dangerous daggers.
1998 would also see new additions to the AquaZone theme with the Hydronauts. Those would run from 1998 to 1999, and some of these you could pick up would be the Super Sub or the Crystal Detector. 1998 also saw the addition of the Stingrays to AquaZone, where you could get the Retcon Ray or the Sea Scorpion.
Using their new technology, the Hydronauts will protect the AquaZone. But in the shadows, a new enemy is growing. Stingrays.
An entirely new theme that was introduced in 1998 and ran to 2003 was Adventures. These would be based off of essentially Lego Indiana Jones that they called Johnny Thunder.
Build your own adventure, if you dare.
The first sub-theme that they introduced to this was Desert. This included things like the Mummy and Cart and the Desert Expedition. 1998 also saw radio-controlled cars coming to Lego for the first time, where you could get yourself the Radio Control Racer. And then that brings us into 1999, where we start off with the town, expanding with the Spaceport This sub-theme would run from 1999 to 2000, and it would include the Moon Buggy and the Countdown Cruiser. Adventures would be back in 1999 as well, this time with the Jungle theme, sometimes called the Amazon theme. Here I'm showing off the two sets, Spider's Secret and Amazon Ancient Ruins. And then also in 1999, running to 2000, we had the Rock Raiders introduced, where you could get the Loader Dozer or the Tunnel Transport.
And join the Rock Raiders in search of rare Braconium. Hard rock can't stop your heavy metal drills, but the dreaded rock monster can. Get the Braconium before the rock monster gets you.
That was close.
The last theme that was introduced in 1999 is Star Wars, and this is really where things completely changed for Lego, where they started to have actual IP come in, and they would build sets off of pre-established stories. Star Wars started running in 1999 and has had new sets come out every single year since then. Though one of the first Lego Star Wars sets that was introduced was the X-Wing fighter there in 1999. One of the big things that got Star Wars into Lego was the release of Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, where there were a number of sets tied into that movie, including both the lightsaber duel and Naboo fighter. I include both of these ones because I actually had them when I was growing up.
You got parts for a pod racer?
Why, you building one?
Lego and Star Wars join forces so you can build authentic Lego Episode 1 pod racers. Command Gungan subs. Pilot Naboo fighters. Battle Darth Maul Sith infiltrator.
But remember, it wasn't just sets based off that brand new movie. There were also sets that tied into each one of the original trilogy. For Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, there would be a set for the Land Speeder as well as the TIE Fighter and Y-Wing. For Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, there was a Lego version of the Snow Speeder. And then for Return of the Jedi, there was a Lego version of the speeder bikes.
Lego and Star Wars join forces for the first time, so you can build authentic Lego X-Wings and Y-Wings.
And that's going to finish our look up through 1999 at Lego. If you're interested in seeing the next bit of this series, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and let me know again, what was your favorite Lego set from this period of time? Thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. I will see you in the next video.